Welcome, George Mason University, back inside the Pressbox. We're back. Did you miss us? We missed you. We hope you did. I'm Vandy Bernard.
I'm Perry Buckley.
I'm Lindsay Hokinson.
I'm DeMonte Shaw.
It's been a lot going on the past few weeks, but we're going to start with the CBI tournament. In case you didn't know, we were in the College Basketball Invitational. We're in the championship series against Santa Clara. Fortunately, it didn't end up the way we wanted it to with the loss last week. Tough game. We had a lead, lost it, had to fight at the end, weren't able to come through. What are your thoughts on the game from the CBI tournament?
I was listening to Coach Hewitt's post-game conference. I didn't get a chance to watch the game. We had a game that night, but went back and looked at the score. We lost by 3, and Hewitt was mentioning, we got a pretty good look at the end from what I could tell. Holloway got a decent look at the end. But, what he described was, oftentimes the last game of the year can kind of be a microcosm of the season. It looks, the way that the game ends up is a representative of kind of the way that the whole season went. And for this team, what that came down to, Coach Hewitt mentioned, was just attention to detail. At the end of the game, they left Foster open to hit a big 3 towards the end, which was kind of a dagger to end the game because it was a 1-point, 2-point game. They even ended up missing a free throw to give us a chance to even tie the game at the end. But Coach Hewitt just said, if there's any guy I could have asked to not have a shot, I would have put the ball in anybody else's hand, but we let him cut and get an open look for a three-pointer, and it killed us. And he said, that's kind of representative of the whole season.
Right.
At the end of the game, we're not paying attention to detail. Exactly. Comes with inexperience, comes with a young team, but he just said, either it's going to be a good way or a bad way, where that last game will represent your whole season, and for us, it was attention to detail.
Yeah, a lot of missed opportunities. Like I said, the missed free throws at the end, the usual turnovers. It's just, we had a solid 5-point, 6-point cushion pretty much the whole game.
Right. And
then it just collapsed. And I remember telling Perry, I was like, oh yeah, we got this. And he's like, we've had a 25-point lead in it, so definitely don't get too confident with a 5-point lead. And apparently they did. Got a little complacent. Said attention to detail.
Yeah, because you blink and look up at the scoreboard, and it's flip-flop. It could be a 5-point lead for the opposing team. So, but like you said, guarding the 3-point line, we struggled with that all year. And again, that came up late in the game, and weren't able to run them off the line.
Right. And again, some of the same things that's been plaguing us all season, to the point where we ended up in CBI tournament. And I think the main thing is, again, attention to detail and just doing some of the little things. We can't hold on to a lead, can't play with the lead. It seemed like we struggled with that a lot. And unfortunately, it cost us on Friday. We fought back, but again, some missed opportunities with the free throws, and hurt us a lot. So, so far, I guess what do we take away from the season? How do we see the season as? Of course, not where we want it to be. Didn't win the CAA championship, which coming in, we thought we would take the CAA. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So where do we think the season stands? What is our outcome? What is our outlook on the season?
You've got a young team. They found postseason play, which is always a good experience for a young team, regardless of whether it's the CBI or the NIT or the NCAA. Obviously, you always want it to be a better tournament, but I think in regards to this team, you'd rather have them play 6 games in the CBI than 1 game in the NCAA.
Yeah.
They're getting this a taste of postseason play, and now they don't want to settle for being in this, 3rd-tier tournament.
Exactly.
And, next year you return, you return 6 seniors, 4 juniors, and 4 sophomores, provided nobody transfers. And, all of these players got a great deal of experience in this tournament. And so now you head into a new conference where you just got a chance to play some higher caliber teams in the off-season or the postseason, and now you're heading into a conference where it's going to be a battle every single game.
So true.
And so I think the players and the coaches take it for the experience, and moving forward, it was a good experience in preparation for next season.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think I would take it as a successful season. Looking at last year and how we got robbed out of any tournament play with the CAA Player of the Year, and doing pretty well. So I take that as a success. Overall, not where we would have liked, but better than what we expected. I guess looking at how they played throughout the season. So
the way I look at it, same as you, is that we got experience for some of our younger players. You know, the Marcos, the Patrick Holloways, like, they really got a good amount of playing time, especially towards the end of the season. And those extra games in the CBI really let Hewitt mix up the players and, you know, see which different matchups he could use.
Copes.
Yeah,
Copes
exactly.
played really well down the stretch. I mean, he continued to improve. So I think, you know, he got better as the games progressed, and that's good. That's what you want to see going into next season.
Yeah.
And we got a bona fide scorer now in Sherrod Wright, so that was good because we didn't know, you know, who the man was going to be coming into this season.
Exactly. And you speak about the team who's coming back next year. Rumors are Rev Charles Vaughns could possibly be transferring. We're gonna see what happens with that. Just a rumor. You heard it, maybe. Did you hear first? I don't know.
Don't leave, Retrell. Don't leave.
So, I guess hopefully we'll see what happens going into next season. What the team looks like. Again, going to the new conference in A10. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But also volleyball. Volleyball is doing pretty well. Swept Harvard over the weekend. Improved to
Swept Harvard in the season. Yeah.
During the season, with a 3-1 win over Harvard. And so far they improved to 14-11, 10-3 in the conference. And they're doing pretty well.
Yep, one match left before the EIVA starts, so they're putting themselves in a pretty good position for ranking and things like that heading into the tournament.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of an important year to do so. It's kind of you know, if you had 5 seniors on a basketball team, you know, the year that you expect them to do the best. That's kind of how this team is right now, because after this season they're going to be losing a big chunk of seniors. So it's kind of like their, you know, the farewell tour, and you hope that you know, the EIVA goes well and then they continue on into a successful NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and it's a great time for them to build momentum into the tournament, and playing well definitely helps that, and hopefully they continue on that roll.
Absolutely. Good luck, guys.
Definitely. And of course, track, just doing their thing as usual. Just shining as always.
Yeah.
And want to touch up some of the upcoming games coming up?
Yeah, for this week we have a softball game on Tuesday versus Hampton at 3 p.m. And Wednesday, baseball and softball are playing, both versus Maryland at 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. respectively. Thursday, men's tennis is playing at Georgetown. Friday, women's lacrosse is playing Drexel, and baseball is playing Towson. And then Saturday, we got a bunch of games. Track and field's at the Mason Spring Invitational to start off the outdoor season. And then rowing for the women is at a cup event. The softball and men's and women's tennis and baseball all play as well versus James Madison, and tennis plays Delaware. And then Sunday, women's lacrosse plays Hofstra, softball plays James Madison, and baseball plays Towson. So best of luck to you guys in your upcoming games.
Definitely. And of course, good luck to you guys as well. You guys want to touch up on the
heading off to GW today, and then we got a week off, and then we go and play Loyola and Navy to finish off the spring season. It's non-competitive for us, so not really all that important, but a good time, again, to build experience, things like that. So.
All right. I'll go get them, beat them down.
Thanks. That's the hope. Yeah.
All right, and we touched up on moving to the Atlantic 10 Conference. Of course, we'll be moving there effective next season. So, for all sports. So we want to touch up on that again. It's going to be some tough competition. Going to be meeting up with an old rival in VCU. So briefly want to see what the outcome is, where we're headed, how things would be looking there in terms of where we're going to be standing.
I definitely feel like at least the first year or two, we might be that bottom dweller team as we get better. Because the Atlantic 10, there's so much competition. I mean, we're kind of holding our own in the CAA, but Atlantic 10, it's like competition's ramped up. You got VCU again. You got Temple. Are they staying in there? Or are they gone?
No, they left.
All the realignment.
Yeah. I mean, you've got LaSalle made into the Sweet 16 this year, so they've got a good team. They're staying around. Dayton, you've got a couple of perennially decent teams who are still going to be around. St. Louis has had
all mid-major teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to basketball.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to step it up.
So obviously, you know, a basketball-driven move.
Exactly.
I was looking up. The A10 actually ranks 7th in terms of raking in money for basketball, and that's behind all the big conferences: the ACC, the Big Ten, SEC. All the big ones. So it's the top mid-major conference. It brings in about $55 million a year. So obviously a good fiscal move for our basketball team. So I just, being another athlete, decided to take a look at, the competition in some of the other sports. And from what I could see overall, it's a good move. It's a good move for the school. Obviously, the spring sports are disappointed because they're not going to be able to compete for championships, which, we're very fortunate to be a fall team. So, we were able to compete, even though we didn't, for our tournament. Looking at all of the sports, though, almost every single sport that I looked at on the men's and women's side, this is going to be a jump up in competition. Looking at the CAA, we've had decent sports in all of the sports across the board, but again, a mid-major conference, so a lot of middle of the pack to lower ranking teams. Looking across the board, men's soccer, women's soccer, tennis. What else did I look at? Volleyball, lacrosse, all of them. If not very equal, then A10 took a higher edge. So I know as a soccer team, we're excited. We get to see a lot of new competition, as well as getting to see VCU again and seeing Richmond again. And so we're looking forward to the change. And I think a lot of teams are. I think the timeliness of the news was difficult for the spring teams, obviously. But I think in the long run, baseball, softball, lacrosse, all of these teams are going to be seeing better competition.
And I actually talked to the head track distance coach over last week. And as you said, he was kind of upset because this would be, they're trying to win the CAAs for the fourth straight time. So that's one thing that they've really been trying to do each year. And obviously they're not going to have the opportunity to do that. But then they could put more of their eggs in a different basket and try to win some other invitationals coming up. But he likes the move because currently in the CAA, there's only 4 schools for track and field. That's including us. So now take us out of the mix. There's only 3 schools. That's barely a conference. So the A10 is much more established when it comes to track and field, and that's a good move for them.
Yeah, I mean, and on the plus side, I mean, track and field is kind of an individually based sport. So on the plus side, a lot of these guys and girls are going to still be able to compete in the NCAAs without having to worry about conferences, which our other teams don't have that luxury. The softball team, the baseball team, lacrosse team, you have to win the tournament to get in. If you lose, I mean, if you can't compete in the tournament, you can't get into the NCAA tournament with a large bid in those sports here, which is tough for them. So I was talking to a softball player, and she said, when I was being recruited here, the coach was drawing me because we were going to be the team to do a lot of firsts. The first team to make a CAA tournament appearance, the first team to win a CAA tournament appearance, first team to make an NCAA tournament appearance. So, they're looking forward to all of these things. And so, at the beginning of the season, they put a sign on the door, CAA championships. They want to make CAA championships. And she said it was really tough having to rip that down, knowing that it wasn't a reality anymore. And I feel for them in that sense. And I think, they only have 3 seniors, and those seniors are humble enough to know that this season for them is more about building the experience of those younger players to prepare Mason to enter into the A10.
Yeah. And it's going to be an exciting move for next season, of course, for the seniors who are able to compete in that capacity. Absolutely. It definitely is unfortunate. And, again, no other way around it. It's very fortunate. But, again, as you said, building that experience for next year and years to come. So it's definitely going to be an exciting move. Is there anything else that we think that, may come from this? In terms of just going back towards basketball, compared to the last couple of seasons, I feel how attendance at games hasn't been what it was a couple of seasons ago. Maybe this might boost some more interest into people coming out into games and hopefully sparking up the attendance. So hopefully that this move will kind of excite the fan base more so and bring everybody out.
Well, that's got to be the hope, at least.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Any final thoughts on anything you guys want to touch on?
I think the timing of the move is tough, but I think in the end it's the best move for not only the sports teams but for the school in general, to build our brand and to continue to become a nationwide presence as a mid-major team competing with the top dogs. So.
I agree. Quality level wise, some of the CAA is actually comparable in some sports to the A10. It's a jump for others, but overall it's a better conference and a good move for the university.
Yeah, this just means I have to go back into being a closet VCU fan. So.
And on that note, we'll stop it right there. We're going to keep this guy in check. Keep it locked. We'll be right back, Mason. Welcome back, George Mason University, inside the Pressbox. Going to move on to pro sports and our Word Up segment. Debuted a few weeks ago, brought it back. First one, Brittany Griner playing in the NBA is blank.
Unintelligent. I think she should run her course with the WNBA. Go on to do great things there. She's 6'8", 207 pounds, which is undersized for a center and a forward in the NBA. She couldn't handle Louisville's physicality, so I don't think she can hang with the big boys.
Yeah, it's silly. I mean, as much as we wouldn't like to say, you could take the best girl in most sports and you throw her with the boys and she's going to look average at best. I think, she's going to bring a lot of publicity, a lot of buzz to the WNBA as becoming a star player, and there's no point in taking away from the league by trying to play with the boys. And that's coming from a girl, and that hurts me to say, but I don't think it's the right decision.
Idiotic. I didn't want to use that strong word, but idiotic, because there's no need for her to play in the NBA. I mean, I know Mark Cuban has his fantasies and whatever he wants to do, but it's idiotic. Exactly as you said. Get that exposure for the WNBA as a whole. It'll be great for her, for the WNBA, for the league, and it'll do wonders.
Yeah, I'd say unwarranted. It would be a lose-lose for Brittany Griner and the WNBA. It's such a slap in the face for the WNBA if she did go or try out for the NBA. And again, nothing saying that she would perform well in the NBA. She's
not even the best college players perform well in the NBA sometimes.
That's true. That's very true.
The men one.
And Skylar Diggins, keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. Anyways, Tom Brady should feel blank about the Wes Welker signing. Of course, he signed with the Broncos. Peyton Manning, is a happy guy. So Tom Brady should feel blank about the Wes Welker signing.
I would say optimistic.
That's my word.
Read your mind. I mean, I think Danny Amendola's a good fit. He brings what Welker brought, and then some. He's a good deep threat as well. So, I think they'll just keep running. I mean, they're the Patriots. I hate them, but they're gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean, excited, because obviously Brady's getting older, Welker's getting older. I used to say Welker is one of the most clutch players, a third down, third and long, a third and short, whatever you needed him for. It was just a quick slant route, and Welker was automatic. And this year in the postseason, watching him, I remember I kept saying, man, Welker's so good. And then I'd watch him play, and he dropped a couple of pretty big passes this year. So I think, as much as Brady loves him, he's an easy go-to guy. I think Amendola is going to provide that same intensity and that same kind of fill that same role, but do it more effectively because he's getting a little older.
Yeah. I'm gonna say salty. Now, of course, as you guys touched up on, Patriots are gonna be Patriots. They're gonna be fine. Brady's gonna get over losing Welker. He's gonna have that connection with Amendola. They'll be fine, back to where they always been the last decade plus. Let's say salty because, of course, in the interview when they're asked Robert Kraft about the whole situation of Welker leaving, and he said, quote unquote, I don't answer to Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady the franchise. I mean, pretty sure he's making in that money for you. You're kind of salty if I'm Brady. That's just me.
I think Tom Brady should feel indifferent because, like you guys said, Amendola is just a potable threat as Wes Welker. And production-wise, you look at the last 2 seasons, and Welker has put up much bigger numbers than Amendola, but, I mean, Sam Bradford and Tom Brady. There's quite a difference. And Tom Brady has a thing for turning receivers and tight ends into stars.
Yeah.
If you look at the last 3-4 seasons.
Do you remember who Shea Caldwell is? Nobody does.
So I think, as you guys said, Patriots will be fine.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one. Wichita State's loss was blank.
I would say satisfying. Satisfying for pretty much everyone in America who watched it. You may argue the calls at the end, but at the end of the day, everyone wanted Louisville to win for Kevin Ware. So I think not too many people are gonna dwell on that too long because they're gonna look at the other side of it as Louisville wins. They're riding on this wave of hope. So.
Yeah. There's the phrase, the ball never lies. So I think it was truthful. It's fate. It's destiny.
Yeah.
there's just the March Madness so many times. I mean, playoffs in general are emotion based, and so I mean, you're just expecting Louisville to kind of continue to ride this ride.
It's disheartening, but move on this next year. Yay!
Hey, guess how much further you made it than us.
Exactly. You had a great season. The Shockers had a great season, so it'd probably be disappointing right now, but they look back at it a few days once the loss goes away. They're going to look back and see what a successful season that they had.
I would say it's upsetting because they had like a good lead almost the majority of the game, and then Louisville just, again, ratcheted up that defense and caused 7 turnovers in the final 6 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yeah.
And you look at the production-wise, in the final 13 minutes, Wichita State scored 21 points and Louisville scored 37. So they really flipped the switch and turned it on and said, we're going to pull away and take this victory. But again, Wichita State had a great run, and
exactly.
You shouldn't knock them. They should be proud of what they did.
Yeah, and one of our former guys did his thing. Luke Hancock.
Let's go, Louisville.
Off the bench. You see rocking the red right there. Yeah, rocking the red.
Got this from Patino.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a picture, after where he suffered his leg injury, and Hancock was the one there comforting him. And, obviously we were all sad to see him go. He left when Larry Nagel left, but, I mean, props to him. He's a great guy, great character, and, a very deserving victor.
Yeah, so shout out to Luke. You guys keep doing your thing and do your thing in the championship game.
I'm hoping he has a Mason t-shirt on underneath it.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Shout out to now we're here. Last one for the Word Up segment. This one's going to be a little... it's going to get there. Mike Rice's coaching methods were blank. And, of course, Mike Rice was the coach that was fired from Rutgers for his questionable actions. Those videos are everywhere on YouTube if you want to see them. We're not going to really touch on
Mike
that.
Rice's practice. Look that up. I would say bully-like. And I don't know, the thing that got me is, like, everyone watches it and they're just like, oh, man, if that was me, like, I would steal him in the face or something. But in actuality, like, that's your coach. Like, that's someone you're, like, looking to for guidance, almost like a mentor or teacher. So it's like he's in a position where he can do that and no retaliation. Because you look at the video, like, no one, like, fires the ball back or, like, even, like, gets in his face, like, don't do that. It's because, like, especially at the college level, they just have so much respect for him that they trust him with and they're still coming out and defending him. So it's, like, it's crazy how, like, you want to be like, oh, hit him back, but you just can't. So he took advantage of that. But don't try that in the pros.
You want to get away with it in the pros.
Betrayal.
Unbelievable as a college athlete. You're right. The respect is the ultimate thing. So your coaches can get away with a lot. But watching that video, I was in awe. I've never seen anything like that before. And hands on a player is one thing, and the verbal abuse was another thing. But I just can't imagine my coach. We've been gently placed places before with I've had coaches in high school where you need to be here instead or here, but that is unlike anything I've ever seen.
A little extra.
And he was abusing a position of power because he knows that they can't really say anything, and they also have really no kind of comparison. Maybe every other college coach is doing this. So
exactly.
That's unbelievable, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna say mind-boggling. It's a dash hyphen in there, so it's still one word. But these are I mean, people our age, athletes that are expected to, their parents place them in the care of this guy, Mike Rice, and then to turn around and find out that this is what's happening to their kids, it's mind-boggling. I'm not gonna go further with it because there's so many things I could do, but I mean, you have 5 players that transferred from this program, as they say, as a result of this. I mean, when it got to that point, it has to be to that point where there had to be something going on that you had to look into this. I mean, this was going on for a while before this all came out, and it's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. But I digress.
That's 3 words.
Oh my goodness.
My 2 words.
You
I'm
did,
sorry.
thankfully. I was going to say inappropriate, just completely inappropriate. If he thought that these tactics were going to work, and that he was not going to get caught for doing them, or he thought they were okay to be doing this kind of stuff, is asinine. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's unbelievable. Never seen anything like it. And when you see him throwing basketballs, like pegging basketballs as if it was a dodgeball game, at these players, and you see all the players immediately turn and like lift the leg up because they're expecting it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe it, and I'm glad that obviously he's fired and that the Rutgers is basically restructuring a little bit of their management in the athletic department.
Even though they actually had to take heat before the athletic director was finally let go, but it's another topic for another day. Whether that dude gets another coaching opportunity, that's another topic for another day. Real quick, we're gonna go to our next segment. Over under. I'm going to touch on our guy Derrick Rose. Of course, still has to come back from his ACL injury, still not feeling it mentally. We think over under 0.5 games Derrick Rose is going to play this season, whether it be regular season, playoffs. Over under 0.5 games that he plays.
I'm gonna go over. They say he's not ready mentally, but I can't help but think that like. Your will to want to win a championship, like watching if his team's struggling in the playoffs, I can't see him like just sitting there on the sideline knowing that physically he's 100%. Like all he has to do is just get out there and just break through this mental block and help his team get to a championship. Like honestly, the Bulls are like the biggest threat to dethrone the Heat. Like how do you not want to like
watch out for those Knicks? Melo's on fire.
See how long that'll last. Yeah, I think he'll be pulled out. I think he'll be pulled out at least in the playoffs and show up, give his team that lift they need.
I'm gonna go over as well. I'm anticipating he's gonna pull a Jordan. Eventually he's gonna whatever ailment, whatever anything that he has, he's gonna drink some Gatorade and hop on the court, and he's gonna take over. I mean, it's Derrick Rose. You've seen the Adidas commercial. Adidas is all in with Derrick Rose. I mean, this city revolves around this guy, and I mean, he is, the new Jordan of Chicago, and eventually he's going to accept that role and, say, I got to get over this block, and I have to do it for my city and for my team because, the commercial's funny. The whole city stops when Derrick Rose gets hurt.
Yeah.
And the whole city starts to work again as he steps back on. And so I think that's the way it's going to be. He's eventually going to realize, my team needs me and my city needs me.
Yeah. Of course, Derrick Rose, said that no matter what, even if it's game 2, game 3 of the first round of the playoffs, if he's feeling he's going to come back. And beforehand, I was thinking of going under, but you guys kind of convinced me. Switch my argument.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm going to go over because I feel that it's just going to be hard to sit on the sideline and knowing that he's ready to go and seeing his team out there. Will he be in 100% game shape? No, but having Derrick Rose on the court just makes a difference for any team. So I think I'm going to go over.
I'll agree with all of you and go over. I mean, they've had some really good play from some role players stepping up. Jimmy Butler, Marco Bellinelli, Nate Robinson. They've filled in really well during the season, but are those guys going to be able to produce in the playoffs, like you guys said?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily see them producing at a level that a Derrick Rose could. And if they're currently seeded 5th right now in the Eastern Conference, and they would be playing Brooklyn if, it all stacks up as it is now in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think the Bulls could potentially win that without Derrick Rose. But once they get to a second matchup or a third matchup, it's exactly. Yeah. And I think they're going to need him. And coming back from an injury, especially as catastrophic as an ACL tear, you're not going to be there mentally. And until you finally step on the court and actually play in a game, and everything goes fine and you don't get injured again, obviously, the more he plays, the more mentally he'll be more prepared and better to go.
You don't want to be compared to the other guy in Chicago, Jay Cutler. So get back out there, Derek.
All right, so of course NBA season's winding down. A few weeks left to go, and it's going to be that playoff push. We'll see where the seedings, everything comes out, and see how the playoffs match up. So it's a wrap for our stuff today. Of course, we're back. We're going to continue to be back throughout the rest of the semester. Look out, we have a special interview with Mr. Charlie Casserly coming out, former general manager for the Redskins when they won on the Super Bowl run and for the Buffalo Bills as well. So check that out. It's going to be a great interview. Definitely want to make sure you see that. I'm Vandy Bernard.
I'm Perry Buckley.
I'm Lindsay Hokinson.
I'm DeMonte Shaw.
Thank you for joining us in the press box. And as always, George Mason University, press on. Press on.